So before I begin this video, I have to put out a massive sort of qualifier here. This is just what's happening here. This is a report that's happening here. This is not specific to anyone or anything else. It might potentially sound triggering. Also seeing that this is just part of what needs to be shared. So I wanted to start out by sharing what has happened over the last 3-4 days. And specifically, also, it's directly connected to actually starting to share. So, as I've said before, 4 a.m. is my usual processing time. Just get woken up. And I got woken up a few days ago after having made a video. And it dawned on me that what is happening here, it's really strange to describe. Bear with me while I stumble over this, while this all comes clearer, while it becomes something that's sort of communicable in words, because it's ultimately not. There has been a part of me, I'll get back to waking up in the morning in a second. So I'm Captain Tangent today. There's been a part of me that's been repressed since I can remember. And there was always the only way to describe it was a very sensitive, very small child in here. And in sharing, and what happened right before I even created this channel, there was this type of opening. Something just completely disappeared. Something just didn't give a fuck anymore. And as I began to make videos and to share, I felt this sense, this indescribable opening show up. And it's funny, when insights happen, the mind always tries to grab it, and it's always grabbing it after the fact. It's always trying to keep up and trying to interpret and trying to figure out what it was. So I don't know exactly when it happened, but again, everything is different. There was a repression that was being lifted here, and this whole sense of I don't fucking care. When I say I don't care, it's not like I don't care about anything. I don't care anymore to modify the speech. I can't be silent anymore. And it's the method and the vehicle of the way that I've expressed things for so long has felt so tightly restrained, has felt so afraid. There was a fear there of any and everything connected to sharing. Fear of judgment, fear of rejection, fear of not being seen in a certain light. And it's just gone. Well, I woke up the other morning and the thought occurred to me, because I felt this, it was like a burning in my chest. It was like something went from here into my chest. And it was at first I couldn't figure it out, but the thought showed up right away. And the thought was based in regulation and management and fear. And it says, you've gone completely crazy. Like, you have lost it. And I really sat with that for a minute. And while that was happening, something else was also saying, like a sense was saying, I don't, you just don't care anymore. You don't care. And I had to examine, am I crazy, like self-harm, feeling destructive, um, feeling like my actual external behavior, especially when it relates to others, it would be erratic. And none of that came up. And then as it started to sift through and process and open up and let this be there, the crazy label was really doing a comparison type of thing. Crazy compared to social constructs, crazy compared to social norms, crazy compared to how we as humans are subjected to behave a certain way, to repress our expression, to repress vulnerability, to repress openness, to repress transparency, all in an effort to protect whatever it is that we think is here, right? Whatever this illusory, like this fucking, oh, I'm just this body sense. And at that moment, I just gave into it. And I laid there in bed for a few hours, just letting it wash over me. And then through the day, what it was replaced by was um, something I can only call love. And I don't know how else to say it. I have to steal other people's phrases to say it. But there's no words for it. A boundless love, love without object, love without a source that either was coming from or going out to. And that's as far as I can explain it. I'm not even going to try. And it was in that moment that I realized that it had been there the entire time. And somehow it had been there since memories had formed in this body. And I replayed what it was like to be that, to be open, to be raw, to be just everything and nothing, to be this pure love, and then having it through the way society is set up and through my innocence and being very naive, having it shut down over and over and over and over again, and watching it through childhood and watching it through my adulthood, and being so very, very confused. And after all these years, there was this feeling of stepping back into it. There's no me stepping. There's not an it that I'm stepping into. Other qualifier, please don't get hung up on the language here. Okay, language is clunky. It's like trying to run through pudding to try to say this stuff. And I realized through all of it that it survived everything. It survived overdoses. It survived heroin. It survived prison. It survived psychological abuse. It survived uh, how I treated others. And this thing came up of I don't ever want to repress that again. No, I would rather have society label as crazy than repress what is truly here. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm running around hugging every tree that I see. It's more of an orientation. It's more of um, it's just an openness. It's an openness, and it's an allowing of everything. And it's not the blissful love that you might think about. There I go trying to describe it again. I can't. I just can't. It's impossible. And what felt so different, I have touched into this so many times. In my early 20s, I had this thought. Once I had the very first non-dual sort of experience, right? That was fueled by a lot of things, mushrooms not the least of them. there was this creeping in, and there was no way I had any words for it at the time. I'm like, there's a better way to do this. And by this, I mean life. There's a better way to live. Why is everyone else living this way? And that in part was me wanting this openness, this heart openness, this love for everything and anything. Wanting to just be there, not wanting to feel repressed, not wanting to contain it because it can't be contained. It's not contained. It shows up here in the center, right here in the center of my chest, in the heart area. But it can't be contained. It doesn't stop here. It goes out as far as the eye can see. It goes into the touch. It goes into everything. And it is everything. And it's like this massive presenting and then dying and then acceptance of anything that shows up in existence. And it's doing it all on its own. And I was so frustrated, so bitter for so many years, going, fuck, I know there's a better way to do this, right? Because that's the language I had at the time. I know there's a better way. And that drove a lot of frustration subconsciously, not being able to express this, not being able to move and act in such a way that was representative of what was here the whole time. And through the darker years, through the later years when I was getting into drugs and then getting into trouble and being just a horrible, horrible example, there was a tremendous shame of going, I keep fucking missing. And then I would get very, very frustrated and feel extremely alone and then lash out again. I don't know why it took half a century to get to this point. It doesn't really matter. And it's there were those. There are still there can still be those little bubbles of doubt of like, do you have the courage to share? Do you have the courage to at least sit down in front of your camera and really, really, really share? I do. It feels awful when that is repressed. It feels absolutely terrible to uh, contain that. Now, obviously, there's an appropriate time and place. This is my place right here. And when I thought, oh, people, you're going to go off as unhinged or whatever, I looked around and I'm like, people are losing their minds out there. I don't know. I couldn't tell you exactly why, nor am I about to make any type of absolute statement about that. And they're putting it out on social media, and it's just unfucking hinged. I'm like, and why am I doubting? Why am I going, am I the crazy one? So it all dissolved and it went into, cool, just going to share. Everything is different. I can't explain it. I don't want to categorize it. I couldn't possibly. I can't, it just doesn't even function in the terms that we are given and fed through teachers, through spirituality. I can tell you what it felt like, though. Or, yeah, right. Good luck with that. I felt like it's like Felt like the first one to figure it out and also the last one to figure it out all at the same time, where everything is new. This was very different than the first shift I had so many years ago. And what's arising here, what's coming up here, God, I fucking hate. That's just for emphasis. The spiritual lingo. I'm just rejecting it, like flat out. And there's been so much that's been unpacked here about that. This expression has to be fucking raw. I don't want, nor do I have any interest, anyone else's realization. And I fell for that trap. I bought it hook, line, and sinker. I saw these calm, serene motherfuckers sitting up microphones, talking to people, sitting in ashrams, or writing these great books, or being able to elucidate these amazing concepts. And I went, that needs to be my awakening. And I rejected that part, that innocent, sort of mischievous part of me. Like I'm a clown sometimes. I think everything is funny. It's not that I don't take things serious. I don't take things serious. There are moments where there's deep emotion, but it's not taken seriously. And it can be sadness, or it can be fear, or it can be whatever. But it's just sadness. It's just fear. And I bought into that lie. And it's like I'm looking around and just seeing what is presented to me in the form of videos or in the form of people and communities. Again, this is where the qualifiers come in. This is not meant to trigger anybody. This is just something that has to come out. Do not expect anyone to be at this place. This is not a better place. It's just what's happening here. How much spiritual language do we appropriate? It's fucking tired. How many of the non-dual police are out there running around correcting everybody out of a sense of not only their own separation, but their own fucking bitterness and unresolved stuff? I hear people talk and I can tell exactly who you listen to. There's nothing wrong with that. But don't stop there. Laughing this morning, listening to a bunch of parrots. Whack, you're not the self. Whack, you're not the self. What? Whack, whack, God is love. Whack, God is love. You can see it. I'd rather have this whole thing go down in fucking flames, like sharing with everybody and have it be completely rejected and be inauthentic. What the fuck are you afraid of? Oh, see that squirrel? I can see him behind me. Hey. It's also deeply understood that everyone's at different places. The way I speak is not going to go over with everybody. That's okay. I see all kinds of people in like videos I watch or whatever that have all sorts of different energy. Some are still scared, and some are in fear, and some are just calmer, quieter, or timid and meek, and that's all fucking beautiful. I fucking celebrate it. And in order for me to come out and say something, I found I hesitated for a few years because I kept trying to put it into everyone else's language and going, if I come off as unfucking hinged, then it'll be rejected. Cool. Who cares? You can't touch this. This cannot be shaken. This has nothing to do with Ted. I mean this. I mean what you are. I mean the ears that are hearing this. I mean the other people that are speaking about this. I mean the people that are in the deep, like everything. You can't touch it. And I just like this blowback, this pushback of stepping into that love, and also this little child is, for as much as I bark, I just feel like I'm just as soft and squishy and like a giant marshmallow. Look, were really up to me, I would go around hugging everybody, but it doesn't go over so well. It's fine. It's not a need. This whole sense of rejecting all of the concepts. It feels like this has to be done. Has to be. Every last one of them. All the phrases, all of the buzzwords. How can there be total freedom inside of a structure that you learn from somewhere else? I'm going to go completely paradoxical to what I just said, but just for an analogy, the old Zen guys talked about a student and a teacher, and they were comparing what happens when the teacher teaches the student, and then the student has a realization. And the thing they said is that if the student's realization is equal to the master's realization, it reduces them both by half, cuts them both in half. The student has to go beyond, has to go, I don't need you anymore. I have this courage to go out and to flail around and to fuck up and to follow that thread of authenticity, which for me now is no longer a tiny little thread. It's like that one of those giant ropes that's keeping a ship from floating out, that big. It's like a fucking freeway of following that thread of authenticity to wherever it might lead. Funny, right after I saw this, I started seeing other people talking about it. And it felt, not that I needed it, but it felt like confirmation. In the beginning, it can be helpful to have concepts, to even understand what all this is. Who knows if I would have moved through this without having so much of that instruction, without reading all of those books. No idea. Can't even speculate on it. I do know that there are folks that don't, that go through this process just raw. So to say that there's an absolute on anything is just completely in the realm of fiction. There is just a monumental amount of not knowing here. I am very grateful that there seems to be something. I didn't install it, but there seems to be something that's akin to a sort of a compass. A few times I tried to make videos, and I knew before I even sat down, and then slugged through for like 5 or 10 minutes, and then just went, oh, no, oh my God, wow, look at the effort. Look at you strain. Look at you try so hard. Why? Why? The bliss comes in waves. Thankfully, it comes in waves. I might have said this before, the body's not meant to handle um, huge chunks of bliss. It feels like it has to settle down. There is something that doesn't leave, but it's not the over-the-top bliss. There is just a whew. I've seen 3 specific people in the last week, none of which I'll name, but I'm sure everyone knows them, share on this level. And I fucking here for it. More like that, please. Bring it. Let's do this. It doesn't mean that there's a rejection, like an ultimate rejection of anything else. It doesn't mean there can't be structure. That doesn't mean that there can't be meditation. It doesn't mean there can't be retreats or self-inquiry. But don't fucking stop there. Eventually, get to the point where you look behind you and you let it go and it's in your wake. Just like all the insights that come up here. I wanted to cling to those for so long. I wrote them down. I'm like, if I don't share this right now, it's going to be gone for forever. And what I didn't realize is it felt like I was standing on the back of a boat. Insights, by the time they make it into the mind, they're already in the wake. They're already gone. So just let it do its thing. You're not going to know what it's doing. You don't know what it's going to unlock. You don't know what it's going to, how it's going to affect, and you don't even know when it hit. The body sometimes responds instantly, and other times it takes forever, and it's like this thing that marinates in you and all of a sudden blooms. You don't know when that is. So here, there's like, you just go, there's no need. There's no need. Trying to cling on to those here was like a lack of trust. Like that was the only time that some sort of cool nugget of wisdom or aha moment was going to be there. And it was like the person, Ted, saying, oh, this is I only get one. Fucking nonsense. They get stale after a while anyway. All the insights get stale. They're not meant to stick around. They're just little blips along the way. Learning to trust the body's wisdom in this. You know, the body acts on its own. Mind desperately tries to keep up. You can't even learn it. It's like that's not even a correct phrase. Just at some point you notice that the body is just moving in and of itself, and all it's doing is just, and it protects itself, and it, you know, does what it needs. I listen now. I can get 3 hours of sleep. I can get 12 hours of sleep. It doesn't seem to matter. Permissions. It's a strange word to start with, right? The second section here, permissions. A year or two ago, this sort of thing began to dawn on me when I was asking other teachers and speakers questions. When I saw, wow, it's a tiny car with a gigantic exhaust. Anyway, when I saw people asking questions, and I think it's beautiful, first and foremost. There was a layer underneath it. As a layer underneath it, and I'm gonna fuck it up trying to describe it. When we ask somebody a question, there might be a specific in there. How do I do this? How do I overcome that? Sometimes, maybe the specifics might point to, like, try this type of inquiry, or do this exercise, or take better care of the body, all the different varieties of that. Underneath it, look at it, it's beautiful. It's like an aspect of the one is asking another aspect of the one. It's checking. It's like permission to let go. Can I open up a little bit more? Can I let go a little bit more of this shackle of thought, of this shackle of a belief, of conditioning? And I think it's beautiful. I have no criticism of it. I just found it fascinating when I really saw that. And then the specifics almost became irrelevant. We're just finding new and interesting ways to learn to let go entirely. The trap is forming conclusions. Can't stress that enough. I wanted to make a whole video with a thumbnail that just said conclusions are death. We all do it. It's going to happen. Oh, it's like this now. Oh, it's like that now. It's like we turn absolute, total, experiential, and existential anarchy and chaos into a math problem so that it can be digested. It's like you're saying, if this, then this, right? And that conclusion can be safe for a while. But how many times did I feel stuck in a conclusion? Did we see it in others? Like, this is just the way it is. Oh, I had this new insight. I had an awakening. My awakening. My insight was such and so. It's fine. Conclusion can form. Eventually, it has to be dropped. Everyone's screaming for freedom or proclaiming that they're screaming for freedom. Really, when you get right up to letting go of the spiritual concepts, of the little nest that we've made of, like, now I'm safe and everything feels good and I hang out in a community and I get the validation that I need or whatever. And I'm not saying everybody's like this. I'm creating a model for the sake of discussion, for the sake of sharing. And we hide in those. And you peek out from these little spiritual bunkers that you've made, judge other people. And I've been guilty of it all the time. Been totally guilty of it. Matter of fact, like, sometimes for forever there was this little assessor running that was taking notes when anyone else said anything. That seems correct. I approve. Stamp. Oh, I don't know. Oh no, you need to work on more shit. Stamp. Fucking moron, right? How dumb is that? It takes the focus off me. It says, I feel like there's something here. I have. Me. Solid entity. Look at me go. Look at the fucking spiritual bank account that I've collected. It may not be that strong in everybody, but boy, I sure had a big old slice of it, you know. And then finally, when it got to needing to really let go, I went, I can't do this anymore. I can't. Judgment is fucking painful. Am I judging myself? Heck, and that's no actual criticism of anything. Just the mind trying to play catch up. Give her permission, man. Like, let it run out the pasture. You know, don't be something we're not. Why? Why form a spiritual thing? Why be a parrot? You know, hang out there for a while if you like. You know how it works out. Report back. Guess I just couldn't. I couldn't swallow any of it anymore. I couldn't swallow any of the concepts anymore. I couldn't swallow any of the methods. I couldn't swallow any of the techniques. I couldn't swallow any of the antidotes. It was just like standing here raw, just like going, hit me, just hit me, like see what's there, what's really here, what is actually here. Do I even know what this is? Do I need to know? Oh, will I probably make mistakes? Yeah, that's all right. I'm used to it. I've been doing it the whole fucking time. I started out fucking up. Whoop, not that. Oh shit. You know, but that rope, that thread of authenticity guides you through there. And thank God there's that the navigational thing that says, oh, maybe not so much that. And so, you know, it's manageable. But still, it's just this total mischievous feel here. And loving and soft and tender and deeply affected by life, whether it's the beauty of the tree I'm staring at right now or the suffering of another person. But this can't be contained. This can't be kept in this can't have boundaries. This cannot be put into a spiritual context. It's death. Fucking death. I said something to a friend of mine in a completely unrelated context, somebody I was working with. He really likes things really well ordered. And this has never come out of my mouth before. And it's just a metaphor, but it spoke to something. And I'm like, hey man, I know you like things orderly. I'm like, but I'm an agent of chaos. In terms of relative statements that can be said, it was like, oh, I'm onto something here. Fuck it. Because this isn't orderly. This doesn't go, none of this went any way that I wanted to order it at all, and still doesn't. No idea. It's just increasing free fall. Close your eyes a little tighter and lean forward and just pitch off of that fucking cliff. And you're ready. You won't before you're ready. I mean, I tried. I'm letting go. I'm letting go. I'm letting go. I'm letting go. Fuck. Got a death grip. Welded my hand to this thing I'm hanging on to. You know, I'm stuck there. Letting go here was done for me. Not done because of it. It was done in spite of me. It's a very strange place to be, not knowing what's going to happen. That burning still in the chest. Granted, this is new. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. And for God's sakes, don't take anybody's word for it. Not mine, not anyone else's. Do not take anyone's word for it. That this is how it is. This is what you're supposed to look like. This is what awakening looks like. This is how the body is going to behave. Because all of that is ridiculously subjective. It has nothing to do with anything in the reality of things. So if you're led to do a certain thing, do that thing. It doesn't have to be this. You don't have to show up and be a buffoon. You don't have to be the class clown of the group. I would rather be on the outside looking in of the social structures, even inside spirituality, and the cool kids clubs, and the people that have got it. I have seen so much fucking arrogance in those. Just mind-blowing. You can also say, well, that's where they're at, and that's totally natural, and it's fine from an ultimate level. Also, knock it off. And it's all said with love. You're just like, hey, fucker, what are you doing? So, if you made it all the way to the end, this is just this. And this may temper. So, it's absolutely going to change the way it feels. It's very fresh right now, it's very new. So, we'll see how it unfolds.